It's time for more Oscar season content. Hey there, Cinephiles. Today I'm going to be ranking every Best Picture winner from the 2010s. We are less than a month away from the 96th Annual Academy Awards, and since I'm in the Oscar mood, I wanted to start a goal of mine this year, which is to watch every single Best Picture. Now, since there's about to be 96 of them, I had to start somewhere, and since the 2020s aren't even halfway through yet, I decided to rank the ones from the 2010s. But alright, without further ado, let's get into my rankings for the 2010s Best Picture winners. At number 10, I have Green Book. The 2019 winner comes in dead last. It's a very simple movie about how racism is bad. Apparently, the Academy agreed that this very simple take on that message had to be the best movie of the year. A movie from the same year that wasn't nominated for a single Oscar called Blindspotting said the same message, but also did many more things with it. And what makes it even worse is that BlacKkKlansman was also nominated for Best Picture, and yet they chose Green Book. And even with the other movies that were nominated for Best Picture that didn't have the same message, like The Favorite, Roma, and A Star is Born, either of these films would have been much better Best Picture winners, and has the very simple message of you shouldn't be ignorant, and it's told in the most simplistic way with very cartoonish New York accents. It's just it's just really crazy to me how this is a Best Picture winner. At number 9, I have The King's Speech. I could not care less about this 2011 winner. In a year that includes nominees such as Black Swan, Inception, Toy Story 3, and The Freaking Social Network, this boring movie wins Best Picture. Even if I don't love the other ones that I listed, at least they're interesting. The amount of times I had to check my watch during this movie proves how time can be altered by a very boring movie. On a technical level, this is better than Green Book. It has better acting and some better shots, but that's really the only reason why I do have it above Green Book. But if I never see either of these two films again, I'll be all the happier for it. At number 8, I have The Artist. The winner from 2012 is fine. It won 5 Oscars, and I just feel so okay with the movie. And it's not that it upsets me in any way, I just don't really feel any emotions from it. And to be honest, this is just the worst version of Singing in the Rain and Babylon. If I did have to be upset about anything because this wasn't as strong of a year for Oscars, I would be upset that this beat out Moneyball in multiple categories. In number 7, I have Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. The 2015 winner isn't a terrible pick. I mean, it's obviously not as good as Boyhood, Whiplash, or The Grand Budapest Hotel, but it could have been worse. It's a well-made film that utilizes the one-take method pretty well, and Michael Keaton does have a good performance that keeps you interested the entire time, but this win doesn't jump off the page for me in any way. At number 6, I have Argo. This 2013 winner is a very solid movie. The only reason why I have it one spot higher than Birdman is because I just dig it a bit more. And I mean, this is the year that the dad film won. And I don't know why, but I keep thinking The Life of Pi won Best Picture this year. I know it won Best Director, but I just thought it was for both. Either way, I do enjoy this movie, even though the only few times I do hear people talk about this, they kind of bash it for being a Best Picture winner. But granted, it's rarely ever if anyone talks about this film. At number 5, I have 12 Years a Slave. This was the 2014 winner, and it was the last one I saw of these Best Picture winners for the first time. I remember hearing a lot about this film 10 years ago. I even remember an SNL sketch about it. But lately, and by lately I mean the past 7 years, I haven't heard a single soul talk about this movie. And it's weird too, because the cast for this is genuinely spectacular. The amount of truly well-known actors that appear for one scene, maybe at most 2 scenes, is genuinely absurd. It just really felt like Hollywood made a collective effort to make this movie. And I feel bad because I didn't love it despite all these great creatives getting together. And the reason for that is because it just was not consistent in its quality. And looking at the nominees for this year, there aren't too many else that I love. I mean, I do like Her and The Wolf of Wall Street more, but I understand why 12 Years a Slave won. At number 4, I have The Shape of Water. Some of y'all hate on the 2018 winner way too much. Yes, Get Out, Lady Bird, and Call Me By Your Name probably should have won the Oscar, but the race at the time was between this and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which, I'm sorry, but is not as good as people think it is. And honestly, I actually really like The Shape of Water, whereas with 3 Billboards, I would have been mad about it. I'm so glad The Shape of Water won. It has this throwback vibe to sci-fi romance, and it just has some very technically simple themes, but it's executed in such a way that it feels like a throwback, but it also feels modernized. There's some beautiful visuals and performances here, and overall, it just feels so very well directed. And Sally Hawkins, again, I adore you. But anyway, some of you guys are just hating on this movie way too much. It could have been way, way worse. I mean, just look at the year after. At number 3, I have Parasite. I know many of you will hate that I placed the 2020 winner way too low. Just a quick side tangent. Yes, this is a 2010's film. Every year the Oscars is the year after the movies came out. So technically the 2010s are from 2011 to 2020 in the sense of the Oscars. As of course they are regarding movies from 2010 all the way to 2019. But anyways, back to Parasite. I do believe that this is a very well-made film with some really good performances. The script has so many surprises, but I rewatched it recently, and just as I did in 2019, I really enjoyed myself. However, I didn't love it quite as much as other people do. I mean, my personal pick for Best Picture would have been Marriage Story, but I understand the significance and why Parasite won. And for history's sake, this is probably the right choice. You get this very complex foreign film that appeals to a mass audience the year after Green Book won. And I'm all for that. However, in this ranking, I'm going to rank them as my favorite films, not which one's more deserving. At number 2, I have Moonlight. The infamous 2017 winner, not because of anything the film had done itself, but how it won the award. For those of you that don't remember or didn't know about it, it was first announced to be La La Land that won Best Picture. However, it ended up being the wrong card that was read, and Moonlight was the actual Best Picture winner. Unfortunately for me, I turned off my broadcast as soon as they said La La Land won. Why? Because I wanted to sleep a little more before class the next day. And my goodness, did I wake up to a bunch of texts telling me something that sounds like it would have happened in my dream. Unfortunately, I just missed one of the most memorable moments ever to happen in Academy Awards history, just because I wanted 5 more minutes of sleep. But either way, even though I do prefer La La Land personally, this is still such a great winner. It's gorgeous in its story and visuals and performances. I mean, Mahershala Ali, you will never be forgotten in this movie. But alright, at number 1, I do have Spotlight. The 2016 winner may shock you that I have it in my number 1 spot, but I just really dig this movie. It just feels so professionally made, and there's this weird charismatic thing that draws me back to watching this film multiple times. Even with the subject matter, it's intense stuff, but the way that this handles this so delicately just goes to show that this movie knows what it is and what it's trying to do, and by the time that you get to the credits, it's just such an emotional gut punch that you can't help but appreciate this movie. Looking at the other nominations this year, I mean, this and Mad Max are my favorite from that list, but I am glad that this movie won overall. It's truly insane how this movie does basically nothing poorly. And with this ensemble cast, everyone is so strong in their performance. But alright, those are my personal rankings for every Best Picture winner from the 2010s. Be sure to let me know your rankings down in the comments below. Also, let me know what you think should have won Best Picture for each of these years too. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.